What's up, everybody? We have a very nostalgic episode of GoJo and Golic coming your way. Lots to look forward to over the next 2 hours. Can you believe this year we will take it and do a year in review? It's going to be amazing. Plus, holiday magic. Look at these great guests. Mina, Katie, Charlotte, Fitz, all your favorites. They're going to be on the show today, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that. Plus, we'll play some fun games like gift or exchange. What does that mean? I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned to find out.
It's the most wonderful show of the year. Welcome, everybody, to GoJo and Golic. Mike Golic Jr., Mike Golic Sr., and Jesse Cofield here. We got a great show for you guys here. It is not the GoJo and Golic holiday musical. You can check out musicals at the Dan Le Batard Show. We'll blow the budget out for that next year. But this is the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular. We have a great show coming up, as Jesse mentioned, with so many great guests that are going to stop us by and look back, look forward a little bit. Mina Kimes, Katie Nolan, Charlotte Wilder, Jason Fitz, all going to help us wrap up this great year while we're off doing other things here. This is not a live show, but you're going to love it all the same here because we've got plenty of great stuff to get into. Make sure you download, subscribe, rate, and view the show. Continue to leave us a 5-star rating. Check out the GoJo and Golic YouTube channel. And guys, a minute to stop and say thank you to everybody that has done so along the way this year. I find this feeling every time I go and see live concerts, like a live event or something, where you've got a performer in front of a bunch of people that chose to be there. And it does selfishly make me think of getting to do this show and the amount of people over the course of a year that choose to get up with us and watch us on Samsung TV or on YouTube or listen to us in a podcast later on. Dad, you've worked in this industry for almost 30 years now, and people making the choice to allow you into their life and routine is, in all seriousness, something pretty special, something I know that we're all thankful for here. So a very sincere thank you to everyone this holiday season for taking the time and making the choice to come and spend some of it with us.
It's probably probably the greatest satisfaction I get from doing a show, and as you mentioned, doing it for close to 3 decades, is when people, come up to you when you're out somewhere and say, "Oh, I grew up listening to you," or "I still listen to you," or "Hey, what you said on the show," or "Man, your show, I enjoy it for the 2 hours." It's kind of an escape. Whether it's driving to work, whether it's some other part of the day, if it's a podcast where you take time to listen to what we have to say. I mean, my God, what we have to say. I mean, we really do appreciate it. I know everybody is listening for you, Jesse. They're listening and watching for you, and Mike and I are just kind of the accessories.
Yeah, they're definitely watching for me. I have a face for television. We all know that. So yeah, they are watching for me. But I will say it's cool when I tell people that I do this show with the Golics, because they're like, "We have no idea who you are, generic blonde lady, but we do know the Golics." So yeah, a testament to how amazing you guys are.
Well, it's at the end of the day and at its core, it's supposed to be a family show. I mean, we get to do this father and son. Jesse has become the smartest part of our family by far and away, and the one that people actually tune in to watch here to that point Dad made. So we do appreciate everyone who's taken the time to do it. We hope to keep bringing you more great stuff here as we get into 2025 and beyond, and as I knock over a bunch of drinks on my desk, because it wouldn't be a holiday special if I didn't screw something up a little bit along the way. Because that's show business, baby. We have a lot of great games, as Jesse mentioned, that we're going to get into as the show goes along. We're going to do a little bit of gift and exchange. We're going to go through some holiday traditions for all of our friends that stop by and join the show. Take a look back at the NFL season. But Jesse, we wanted to start off taking a look back in general at what happened in 2024, because we tend to forget, as Dad always points out, we are a microwave society. We move on to the next thing pretty quickly. And it means we need to, every once in a while, take a time to stop and recollect on some of the absolutely bat bleep crazy things that happened.
Yeah, so we're going to kind of pretend that it's December 31st, 2023, okay? So 2024 hasn't happened yet, obviously. You're looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook here, and these mostly fake, FYI, mostly fake odds, although a few of them are real, but they're mostly fake, are the latest odds for things to happen in 2024. So which are some of the bets that you're taking? So let's start with some we might actually be betting at that time. How did these affect our year in sports? So some of these mostly fake, like I said, odds. We have plus 350 Dodgers to win the World Series, minus 200 Bronny getting drafted by the Lakers, minus 250 Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to finish 1 and 2 in WNBA Rookie of the Year voting, plus 250 Jason Kelsey to become America's favorite uncle. Favorite? Maybe. Yeah, plus 1,000 for the Super Bowl going to overtime. So these are some that we can reflect on here, like things that actually came to pass. So what do we think?
I do appreciate that we have to make sure because, hey, listen, there's plenty of stuff to bet on, and we encourage and appreciate to everyone to do so responsibly, but that we have to make clear that these odds from last year for events that have already happened are fake and that you shouldn't go out there and try and bet on them, which is a great point to make here. And Dad, as we look back on some of these things, the most likely on this list, according to the odds that are definitely made up here, would have been the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese finishing 1 and 2 in the WNBA Rookie of the Year voting. And I know we saw in the past month Caitlin Clark be named Times Athlete of the Year and get those flowers for what an important force she has been in the sport. But again, what we talk about this rookie class is sort of the culmination of the work of so many people in a year and really a few year stretch where we've seen women's sports overall have such a surge, but specifically women's basketball and now the WNBA stepping into the light for a big moment that sees the league not only drawing increased popularity, but getting ready for expansion in the coming years. And so I think it's rare in sports, Dad, we talk about this with LeBron James a lot, to see people with great expectations put on their shoulders to go out and actually be able to make it happen the way that these two women and so many more did.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why of what other things we're talking about, this had the shortest odds. I think everybody saw this coming, especially with Caitlin Clark. But Angel Reese, in her own right, has been an absolute stud in what she has done. Obviously, toward the end of the season, having to miss the rest of the year because of her wrist, but just a rebounding defensive machine. So that was definitely and what they brought from college, kind of the hero villain type situation that Angel Reese seemed to be very comfortable with, right, while also being a great player. So I thought this was a no-brainer that they would be 1-2 in Rookie of the Year voting without question.
They weren't. Now, it wasn't without its own ugliness, and Caitlin Clark, to her credit, did a lot to dispel that in the Time magazine piece. So she was interviewed about acknowledging the privilege that comes with being a white woman in a league that was largely built by black women and the challenges that they face not only in the buildup of this, but even now as we got here. There's a lot of bad actors have come in and tried to use Caitlin Clark as a meat shield for their own hate. And now, Dad, I do think the thing I hope we get away from in 2025 is obviously all of the hate towards, the black and brown women that have been the backbone of this league for so long, but also just every opportunity that Caitlin Clark comes up, using how it's handled as an indictment of the WNBA overall. People trying to act like, oh, they're not ready for the moment or anything like that. This is a league that, like everything else, is becoming so big that it can contain a lot of things going on at once. We hear and see a lot of things coming out of all these other leagues that have been around for much longer comparatively than the WNBA that right now is showing you with the level of investment there from people coming in and wanting to buy into ownership groups in these teams, from the expansion to other teams getting ready to pop up here, that they have been more than ready for what's come up here. And there might be some growing pains along the way, but make no mistake, they are going to be a small part of a journey that seems to be a rocket ship only going up.
Yeah, and I think Bronny getting drafted to the Lakers was a no-brainer as well. And then him, obviously, it was a little controversial. The deal he signed wasn't a two-way deal, but is now playing in the G League and is actually now playing on the road in the G League, something that he was only going to play home games. But I still think no matter what anybody on the negative side says, having the two of them on the court at the same time in the first game of the season was just an incredible thing. Absolutely incredible. Obviously, Bronny is not ready for the NBA, but most second rounders aren't. That's why they go to the G League. They go there to develop. It's nothing different than others, but he has the name, that's going to put the spotlight on him. So I hope for his sake that he develops in the G League and becomes an NBA player. But what a great moment as moments we get to share together now for years, from ESPN to now, to be able to share our workspace together and share a microphone together. Very cool to see LeBron and Bronny on the court at the same time.
Yeah, unfortunately for Lakers fans, that's about the happiest they felt was at that point during the season, and everything since then has been a much more tumultuous battle for that group on the court. So that's been a difficult one there. The other one, Dad, I mean, Jason Kelce, forget just becoming America's favorite uncle, but also just becoming arguably the most famous interior lineman to ever play professional football, and the turn that he has taken now from professional football player, one of the greatest centers to ever play the sport, to now a legitimate media mogul going on, the work that he's doing with ESPN, the podcast, all the advertisements around that, his wife's podcast becoming one of the most popular out there. The Kelce family coming to a sort of Kardashian level of fame inside the sports bubble certainly was not on the bingo card, I think, for a lot of people, but they have really stepped into that mantle and done it while still maintaining so much of what made them likable to start with.
Listen, I knew he was going to be a star. I didn't know the star would shine this bright and in so many different areas. The amount of commercials that he has, his wife Kylie, as you mentioned, with the podcast. I mean, he is absolutely blown up. And listen, as former linemen ourselves, we both love his attitude. It's just kind of a fun-loving, I'll kind of do anything attitude. He's just kind of really a down-to-earth guy who, as I said, that while I knew that the star would shine, it is shining even brighter than I thought was going to happen.
No doubt about that. So all of those certainly deserving, very obvious headlines that we probably could have bet on to an extent going into this season. Jesse, there were also ones that shocked us a little bit more than that.
Yeah, these are some really crazy ones that had us in serious disbelief. Like, which of these do you think would have been the craziest if I had told you about this a year ago? So plus 550 for breaking to be the talk of the Olympics, minus 130 for Alabama to miss the college football playoffs, plus 1,000 for SMU to make the playoffs, plus 10,000 for Indiana to make, plus 400 for Shohei Ohtani to not have the largest contract at the end of 2024, and plus 1,200 for the best golfer in the world spending a night in jail before a round of a major. They all sound a little ludicrous to me.
Those last two, though, the fact that we also didn't remember that Shohei Ohtani would also start off the year deferring most parts of a contract worth almost $750 million, but would also then have to weather the storm on gambling allegations surrounding his interpreter at the front end of all of this before we got to that. So between that and Scotty Scheffler going to jail, Dad, I would say those were sufficiently the weirdest parts of the sports calendar.
Fun fact, though, before I let you answer, Senior, those football playoff odds were real. So some of them were real. Yeah.
Listen, what Indiana has done has been absolutely incredible. No doubt in how bad the program was to where Curt Cignetti has that program right now. But there is no doubt the last two on this list. Shohei Ohtani, you figured in time the deal would be beaten, but not the next year. Not the next year, and by a guy in Juan Soto who didn't defer any of the money. He's getting it all on his the long term of his deal. But I think without question, the longest odds would be the best golfer in the world spending a night in jail before a round at a major. I mean, it's one thing to spend a night in jail at an arbitrary time, but to be at the major itself, get arrested the morning of the first round, be in jail and get out in time to make your tee time, that's movie writing stuff. That stuff doesn't happen. So that was the most shocking thing to me.
Yeah, that one certainly up there. I think with that one too, so much of it is it being Scotty Scheffler. Like, there are some golfers over the years that maybe you would have believed more were capable of finding their way into this kind of situation, but for it to be on a routine drive over to the course, and for it to be the golfer, Dad, that's routinely brought up as being too nice or too normal or not interesting enough for people, to all of a sudden see the flashing blue and red, and then to have a largely NFL-based reporter break this entire story was a real where were you when moment for the sports calendar year this year. And then, oh, by the way, Scotty Scheffler was in arm's reach of actually being able to go and compete and win this tournament.
Yeah, amazing. Said about all he could do was stretch while he was in jail to get ready for his round. That to me was the most bizarre thing. The most, I think, unreal thing was that break dancing, that breaking would be the talk of the Olympics, and not in a good way, right? God, you know me, I'm an Olympic freak. I will watch any event, and breaking was a new event this year. So I watched a little bit of it, but then the young lady from Australia who unfortunately just made a mockery of it and got breaking to be one and done in the Olympics. Now, overall, it wasn't very watchable. It did not take off like I think everybody thought. But then what she did and just really bringing it down the rest of the way was kind of a shame for an Olympic event or the Olympics that I love to watch.
Let me tell you what, I learned this year that breaking, breakdancing, and the entire group of people in and around supporting that activity in sport are not a group you want to mess with online. And so I'm going to choose my words very carefully because I don't feel like having my Instagram mentions full of angry breakdancing fans yet again this year. Ray Gunn did have an unfortunate little oopsies there, although became one of the most iconic Halloween costumes, end zone celebrations that we've seen over the course of this year. Jesse, our very own Ray Gunn in studio here. So Jesse, gave people a lot of material to work with, and we are nothing if not a content factory. And so the Olympics being that giving while we also were watching Boston Celtics basketball players get slighted was really nice.
Listen, no one would have remembered Ray Gunn's name if she had just had a ho-hum routine and had not done what she did out there. So if anything, she will go down in the history books, you know?
Nobody cared who I was until I took out the ray gun.
But so is it any news is good news? I mean, do you want to go down in history as that?
I mean,
is that something you want to be known for?
You brought down. It does not seem like it's been a good time for her.
No, it doesn't seem like she wants to.
You brought down a sport. You brought down an Olympic sport to be ousted.
No, it already wasn't going to be in LA before the Paris Olympics happened.
All right.
Yeah, she didn't get it thrown out of LA.
The sport.
I mean,
it was already getting tossed in favor of some other sports.
Yeah.
She didn't help it.
Right.
She didn't help the publicity around the sport. Like, Dad, to your point, the no such thing as bad publicity probably does not apply in this particular instance, but at the very least made for a very memorable moment here. The ones that are real, I can't believe that you could get Alabama at minus money to miss the college football playoff. I get that Kalen DeBoer coming over was a big change. I mean, two of the biggest changes in sports this year were Bill Belichick and Nick Saban not being on the sidelines during this fall. Now, we know Bill Belichick has since remedied that and is going to be on a college sideline coming up. But, Dad, the change of Kalen DeBoer, a guy who was in the national championship last year with the Washington Huskies, now coming over to a program in Alabama that's got the richest championship history in modern sports. I was amazed that you could get this at minus money. I thought that this is going to be a team that the combination of those two had them in a really good spot to do this, but we saw they ended up becoming the poster for the controversy around the playoff this year.
Especially when the playoffs expanded and you thought you were going to get 4 SEC teams. You end up getting 4 Big Ten. You get 4 SEC teams, and not only not making it, but then just the bad loss to Oklahoma. You're just so used to not seeing that out of Alabama. So Kalen DeBoer, who's been on the show, and we love the guy. That's a tough first year as head coach of Alabama.
He's a great guy and a great coach who has succeeded at a lot of stops here. Very similar to the Kurt Cignetti Google me. I've had success everywhere I've been. Kalen DeBoer can lay claim to that same thing, but he is about to find out why they say it just means more down there, because I'm sure this offseason is going to be mighty, mighty stressful down in Tuscaloosa. The rest of this special, not going to be stressful for you at all. Coming up next, our friend Mina Kimes going to pop in and help us look back at some of the best stocking stuffers from the NFL season here on GoJo and Golic. Welcome back to the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular. Mike Golic Jr. and Mike Golic Sr. with you here, as we will be all day. And we got some great guests coming by. We're going to do some stocking stuffers with our buddy up. There's the doorbell. Let's check who that is. It is none other than ESPN's Mina Kimes. Our commitment to a bit is unparalleled. You can check her out on NFL Live, as well as the co-host of the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny, wherever you get your podcast. She's also going to be part of Netflix's coverage of the NFL on Christmas Day. And I have to ask, Mina, starting there, you got to be part of the Simpsons altcast with ESPN, and now you're getting to help broadcast a game on the same network that does Love is Blind. Which of these is the bigger career accomplishment for you this season?
Man, well, We're on the Ultimatum now, which is the new Love Is Blind show, by the way. It's pretty big. I am a huge Love Is Blind fan. I don't know though if I'll work in Love Is Blind references the way we did Simpsons references. I think Simpsons has the edge because as much as I'm going to enjoy working with my peer and close personal friend Beyonce, being turned into a Simpsons character, it wasn't a lifelong dream per se, but it was a dream I never knew I had until I saw it.
And plus, I know you love Love Is Blind. You and Mike. Oh my God, I saw the first season, and that was enough for me. But I didn't realize what a Simpson freak you are. I mean, that by far you like that much better, don't you?
I love it. I mean, it was really nostalgic for me because my family grew up watching it every week as a family. So most of my references were pretty old. Actually, one thing that made me laugh about the broadcast, so many of my friends watched it with their kids and they're like, wow, my kids really loved it. And I was thinking, man, they must have really loved my 1990s references. But apparently it introduced a new generation of fans to The Simpsons, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that is very cool. Now I want to ask the important question: how does Lenny enjoy the holidays?
Lenny enjoys any occasion where there's multiple people eating food that's likely to fall to the floor. So the more humans in our house eating the more food at unconventional hours, which is really a kind of way of paraphrasing what the holidays are like here, the better it is for Lenny overall.
There we go. Well, a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to Lenny indeed for the surplus of food coming into his life here. Mina, while we had you around here, we thought we would do a few stocking stuffers, sort of looking back at some of what we've gotten from this NFL season as we draw to the close on this and try and suss out what's going to be looking like for the playoffs here and get back to some of the biggest things that we've seen over the course of this season. So I wanted to start off with the easy one here. I know there's been a few that would qualify for here, but if you had to look back right now at the team that surprised you most with what they did in the 2024 NFL season? We've obviously had the Buffalo Bills storming out big, the Commanders, the Vikings here, but is there one that surprised you more than others based on what you thought going into the year?
I would have to say the Denver Broncos, just relative to preseason expectations. This summer, I did a series on YouTube of power rankings with different guests, trying to get power ranked teams head into the year. And I don't think a single guest I had on, including myself, power ranked the Denver Broncos above like 24, 23, maybe in the NFL. So to see them, I wouldn't say knocking on the door in the playoffs, seems like very, very likely they're going to be in at this point. It's pretty remarkable. And I think what's been so impressive about it and why it feels so substantial or substantive rather is that it's a very balanced team. One of the best defenses in the NFL. Sean Payton, I think, has reminded the world of how brilliant he is as a play caller. I think, not to pander here, but the Broncos offensive line is probably one of the more slept on stories of the season. And then of course you got a young quarterback in Bo Nix who is playing winning football with a coach who knows how to call an offense tailored to his skill set. So they, to me, are the biggest surprise because I don't think many people saw this coming.
So in looking at teams, you say Denver, and one of the obviously biggest surprises has been Minnesota. Let's look at player. Are you more surprised at Bo Nix's how he is assimilating to the game and growing with the game, or that Sam Darnold hasn't reverted back to the Sam Darnold that we all thought he might revert back to, and he's playing great ball?
Well, as a longtime sympathizer, I can't say I'm surprised by the Samazants. I will say what strikes me about the Vikings, thinking about watching them against the Falcons on Monday Night Football, is the team is so good that even when Sam does throw interceptions or has misses, as he did in that game, everyone else is good enough to lift him up, whether it's the defense, which is one of the more trickier schematic defenses in the NFL, unbelievable skill players. I think two play callers, and Kevin O'Connell is their head coach, and Brian Flores, who are not only brilliant game planners, but also brilliant in-game adjusters. The infrastructure there is fantastic. Bo Nix to me is probably the bigger surprise, just because you could say forget preseason. The first 4 weeks of the season, I thought, oh boy, they're in for a rough season. And I'm not totally surprised that Sean Payton has been successful with this offense, but I think some of the playmaking we've seen from him the willingness to attack downfield as the season has gone along has been very surprising.
Yeah, it truly has been growth over the course of the season. And like we've talked about with a lot of these guys, you do attribute some of that going back to coaching and the ability to put the right structure around him that's helped make them super successful, no doubt. Let's talk about the other side of this, Mina. Biggest letdown relative to expectation from the start of the season for you this year?
I'll probably go with the Cincinnati Bengals there, which I think actually squares with, they had like maybe the 5th or 8th highest playoff likelihood for ESPN's FPI index in the league. And I said this before, but I really believe if the Bengals were in a different city, like, I don't know, if they were the Jets or something, there would be a bigger outcry over this season from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase being wasted on offense. It's just, I mean, I believe it's close to historically unprecedented, right? Like what they are doing respective to the team's win record, but throw out the stats. When you watch every week, I mean, it is jarring to me the ways in which this defense has let them down. And it's a defense that clearly has not been built well, and they've thrown resources. This is a very expensive defensive line, and they have drafted and they have continuously tried to address it, and it's been an obvious failure, not just this year but going forward. I don't look at this defense and see like center cornerstones per se, and I really feel like the front office deserves so much more heat for that than they've been getting, because it's been such an unbelievable letdown this year.
Well, that leads me to this question, because I completely agree with you. Biggest letdown management-wise, Cincinnati on that defense or the Cowboys for basically doing nothing in the offseason, or do you have another candidate?
Yeah, the Cowboys would be up there too. And I think what's depressing about that one is it was a lot more predictable, right? Because pretty much everyone felt like they mishandled the offseason and didn't do enough, and it was immediately proven true almost immediately. So I think, and those teams, by the way, they have common thread, right? Which is, I don't think we think either of the GMs are going anywhere because of the way they're run and the involvement of ownership. And, so maybe it's no coincidence that the two front offices, perhaps with the lowest amount of accountability in the NFL, are the ones we're both pointing to as being huge disappointments this year.
Yeah, I think for them, and it's interesting to think of some of the other teams that fall into this mix, because I think relative to expectation, the San Francisco 49ers, who had been the perennial NFC representative there, I mean, I guess the next one there, because they've got a Herculean task getting ready to potentially pay their quarterback and move things around there, is who's got the best path back from where they came from. All these teams have been recently successful, and so you could point to a rebound for all of them. We thought that was coming for Cincinnati this year, but who do you actually think has the best chance of pulling this off come next year?
Well, I think given what you've seen out of the quarterback and the receiver in Cincinnati, it's so hard not to pick them generally, because they don't need to be a great defense. They just need to be an average defense. I think the problem in San Francisco, GM deserves a little bit of criticism, but it also is just so obviously attrition, right? And it's not the same thing where you could make the argument, well, they're going to, if they get a little bit healthier next year, this is a team that was competitive even despite these injuries. But I think my concern there is I do believe they're going to pay the quarterback, and whether or not you believe that's the right idea is one thing or the other, but paying him is going to make roster construction very difficult going forward. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers team we see in the future is going to be a lot closer to the San Francisco 49ers team we saw this year than the one we saw in past years. So I'd be hesitant to pick them over Cincinnati for that reason.
So let's move to players now. And I know last year you were a big Trey McBride fan from a bad Cardinals team, but he played extremely well. What player or players, a couple, do you enjoy watching? Did you enjoy watching this year?
Goodness. Oh, there's so many. Whew, boy. Okay. Like, do you want me to go like stars, or maybe more like hipster picks, or?
I mean, I'll leave that up to you. I know that you have done all NFL hipster teams before.
Let me pander again, because I was just, am I pander? I mean, I would talk offensive line, because I watched this game late. I watched the Bucs Chargers game after the fact, right? That Bucs offensive line is moving people on the grid. They're pass protecting really well too. The fact that Luke Gedeke moved to right tackle, and I don't know if where you would rank him, Mike, watching him, but I am continuously so impressed by him. Obviously, Tristan Wirfs is unbelievable on the left side. And then they got younger on the inside. Like that, it looks like the Bucks are going to make it to the playoffs. I really enjoy watching that ground game with Bucky Irving. And it feels like they have really figured out how to, and this was a major problem last year, how to build a rushing attack around this offensive line in particular.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons when we get to this offseason, Liam Cohen is going to be a guy that gets mentioned a lot as one of those coordinators in line for head coaching jobs. And I got to call a game when he was calling it at Kentucky with Will Levis, and we all walked out of the coaches meeting with him and like, that guy communicates and conducts himself like a future head coach. But you mentioned Bucky Irvin has been such a joy to watch, a player that you loved in college who didn't necessarily, in many people's eyes, translate as seamlessly to the NFL, go into a room where Rachaad White had played really well last year, and it looked like they had a running back already loaded up. But I'm with you, that offensive line, Nate Tice posted a picture of them sorting a pass protection and kicking back on a blitz that was like watching poetry in motion. So an enlightened pick, and in no way just pandering to present company here. Everyone can love offensive line play the way that Mina Kimes does here. Mina, let's finish this off giving out some gifts for the holiday season here. As we look at teams that have been contenders for the entirety of this season here, some of the biggest and best ones here, a gift that you would give contenders on the way out of the door here. Let's start with the Philadelphia Eagles, who have been at or near the top of the NFC for a while now, proving the doubters wrong, wearing Kangles. What gift would you give the Eagles heading into this holiday season?
I think just proving the doubters wrong in their own building. But anyways, I'll let that slide. I would say continued poise from Jalen Hurts in the face of the blitz, because that was what stuck out to me. This is a performance that can't be undermined or understated, because the Steelers defense is really, really, really good, and Watt was healthy for most of that game. And I thought Jalen Hurts was extremely poised, handled their pressure very well. And that's been shaky for him over the course of the season. But if you see that version of Hurts going forward, there's no reason why this team can't win the Super Bowl.
How about what everybody considered, I don't know if they still do, the best team in the NFL, and that's Detroit, even though you're not a doctor? What would you give them?
Yeah, I can't give them a function, like a healthy defense, right? Gosh, they're just so up against it. I think that what I'd like to see is, how should I put this? A few defensive stops is all I think they need each game, because I think this offense is that good and they don't need any gifts. Whether it's Brian Branch turning the ball over, maybe sending pressure in unexpected times, they're going to have to play the variance card a little bit on defense because they're so challenged from an injury perspective.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That really is going to be a no risk it, no biscuit kind of team from here on out. And we'll send you on the door with this one, Mina. We'll just do one from the AFC side here. The Buffalo Bills trying to get over that Chiefs-size hump in the postseason. What gift do they need to try and slay the dragon?
I think keep playing with a lead is big, because when I think about the Bills potentially rematching with the Ravens, I do worry about that defense holding up. I know that they were just fantastic, but if they play with a lead, it might not matter as much. And guess what? They've got a quarterback who can give them a lead on anyone. So I have a lot of confidence in them.
All right, there we go. All great gifts from a great gift giver in Mina Kimes. You can check her out, as always, The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny, NFL Live, and, of course, enjoy her coverage as a part of Netflix's wraparound coverage around the NFL on Christmas Day. Mina, you're the best. Happy holidays, buddy. We appreciate you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and welcome back to the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular here. As we roll along here in a busy house, this is the one thing you learn around the holidays is you're never really quite sure who's going to show up when. You constantly got to be on your toes. Hosting is a difficult job, and so I just sit here and wait to see who shows up at the doorbell next. Let's check out who it is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in our buddy and Yahoo Sports host and analyst, Jason Fitz, kind enough to stop by here. And of course, he's in the loudest festive attire humanly possible. Hello, Jason. Happy holidays.
Look, this was my tamest of all of my holiday sweaters. I wore it out of respect. And what are the snacks? Like, I thought maybe that, like, I know this is virtual. I thought maybe there was going to be like a thing of cookies mailed to me, something. Like, I expected snacks. I have high expectations for the Golic family on Christmas parties. So a little disappointed I'm not eating a gingerbread cookie right now, but it's fine. It's fine.
Well, there were snacks, but Mike and I ate them already, so there are no
brand.
more snacks. So that's on brand. So let me ask you first, Jason, where does Christmas rank as far as holidays for you?
Okay, so we all know my Halloween fandom. So I'm going to say that Halloween for me is probably 1, but Christmas is 1A. Like, I'm every bit is Christmas. Like, I'm usually the guy that goes to Spirit Halloween the day after Halloween because that's when everything's on sale. And I get as many animatronics as I can while I'm blasting Mariah Carey's Christmas record. Like, that's the thing for me. So Christmas music comes on the 1st of November and stays on until mid-January. So I'm all in on the Spirit. I got, probably 25, 30 different holiday sweaters, and I can roll with any of them. In fact, one of the first times Mike and I hung out in Connecticut when I first came to ESPN, everybody was going to a karaoke bar. All the cool kids were there. I walk in and it's all the people that I've been watching on ESPN that I love, that I'm such a fan of. I walked in with my little Frosty the Snowman has a little carrot dangling out sweater with a little, I look like an idiot walking into this thing, but that's on brand too.
Yes, tremendously on brand here, as is alternative holiday planning. The last time we had you on around a holiday, Fitz, it was Thanksgiving, and we talked about your now new tradition of going down to Foxwoods Casino, heading over to the sports book and having a time there. Do you have an alternate Christmas plan that you abide by here, or are you more traditional when it comes to this holiday?
So I'm traditional in the sense that, like, in a moment of sincerity, every year I go to a local shelter of some sort, and I feed people and then help give out toys. I always try and adopt a family that I can help make a Christmas for and try and provide. We didn't have much growing up as a kid, so I always try and figure out a way to make a Christmas happen for a family so that they don't have, nothing under the Christmas tree, which I lived through as a kid. It's not the easiest. So, I actually, Christmas Day for me is more about trying to give back to other people, and then I'll nuzzle down with the dog and spend the rest of the day watching football.
All right, there we go. That's a really sweet, wholesome answer that I wasn't prepared for here.
Nobody
Good job
was prepared
by you, Fitz.
Nobody's prepared for that. Like, this always shell shocks people when they're like, "Oh, that guy." That's 100%. Mike, I hit you with that one. You didn't see that uppercut coming.
I just pictured you in like a basement mannequin party with all sorts of impropriety and substances. So this is a lot more wholesome answer here. But Jason, what I do want to get to before, we're going to play a game with you while we've got you here, Fitz. It's the naughty or nice list, because I feel like if anybody is more in line to be one of Santa's little elves, it's probably you, and I feel like he would outsource the naughty and nice list to you. So we'll have a bunch of our different sports figures from the year, and we're going to decide whether they were on the naughty or nice list based on things. And some of them, a little bit of complicated answers, since some of our great sports figures this year had a lot going on and off the field. But for anyone unaware, still at this point here, your former life as a classically trained musician, you went to Juilliard, you were part of the band Perry for a number of years as the fiddle player and the band director. And so I want to tap into the holiday music portion, because you just mentioned you start off blasting Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. Is that the greatest Christmas song of all time in your mind? Is that number one on your holiday to-do list every year? And what goes into making a great Christmas song? Because we've got a market that I feel like is as saturated as any in music with Christmas songs.
So a couple of things here. The best Christmas song of all time, and I'm going to be like a little in the weeds here. To me, the best Christmas song, when you say that, is a song that no matter who does it, you get your feels. Like, no matter who does it, you just want to stop and listen. So for me, Oh Holy Night is the greatest Christmas song, because no matter who does it, no matter what record, I don't care if I'm walking by a kid's choir that actually stinks. If I hear them doing Oh Holy Night, I stop. I get all the tears, like you get the goosebumps. That, to me, the feels come into that. But yes, All I Want for Christmas is probably the best Christmas record. And her version of that is so great that's a great recording. I'm in the weeds on this. To me, a great Christmas recording is timeless. And that's where you have to really think about what instruments you use and how you want to make it sound like. Because if you try and make a Christmas song for right now, in 10 years, it'll feel like a Christmas song for right then. And I think sometimes you got to look at the ones that stand the test of time, and you don't know if they were recorded in the 60s, the 80s, the 2000s, or now. Like, you use real instruments, you use a very basic recording process. But yeah, I'm the guy that, frankly, I'd be just as happy putting Bing and Sinatra on a vinyl for 2 months as I would listening to Sia's Christmas record. So I love all of it, but I think timelessness is the most important part.
Well, you mentioned Bing Crosby. That's my favorite Christmas song. Bing Crosby and David Bowie singing Little Drummer Boy. That's my favorite Christmas song. I absolutely love it. But all musical artists make a Christmas album. They all do. Should they sing the songs traditionally or put their own spin on them?
Yeah, I think you do it in your voice traditionally, though. Like, I just, man, it's kind of like the national anthem. Like, the national anthem is not about you. It's about the national anthem. I don't need to hear you prove that you can do 5,000 licks and be Mariah Carey in that moment. No, I just want you to do the national anthem. Minute and a half, get on, get out. Let everybody feel the song. To me, most Christmas carols are the same way. If you want to do something a little different, go for it. Like, I'm in for Pentatonics doing Pentatonics thing. I think that's really fun. But for the most part, when you have somebody decide they want to show you what a great singer they like, I remember, this is going to get me in trouble, but I remember Christina Aguilera put out her Christmas, and I was a massive Christina Aguilera fan. So I was in Nashville at the time. I'm on 65. I put the CD in. All right. So I'm listening back in the CD day, loaded in the car. I'm listening. I get about 3 songs in, and I literally took that out of the CD player, threw it out the window, and let it go onto the highway. I was so over the vocal acrobatics of the whole thing. It wore me out. Couldn't handle it. Like, I just go out there, deliver the song. So as much as I love Christina Aguilera, her over delivery of that entire Christmas record, I threw it out the window. I didn't even get through the whole record.
Wow. Okay. Sending that one out there. And see, Christina Aguilera is an interesting one, given the brand for a long time with her, the dirty era Christina Aguilera, I thought might fall into what we've seen become popularized. And Ariana Grande did this at a high level. I actually heard Spencer Hall bring this up on Bomani's podcast. But then you brought Sabrina Carpenter with horny Christmas specials, and horny Christmas albums have really gotten a foothold in the industry as of late.
Yeah, well, look, I'm all in for a nice little Santa's helper outfit, but I don't need that in my music. Let's just be real for a second. I mean, there's a level of like, I don't know. I'm not looking to get turned on for Christmas, right? Like, it's the gingerbread cookie that's supposed to turn me on.
I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus as one of the OG Christmas songs, and it's about mommy hooking up with Santa. It's built into the model.
But it's also like delivered in a really sweet way. Like, I don't need Marilyn Monroe. Like, I saw mom. I don't need that whole like breathy version of it. Like, it gets creepy at that point. Like, it's creepy. I don't know. The fact that, you know, I don't need to know what Santa and Mrs. Claus are doing on Christmas Eve to get ready for the whole day. Like, I don't need to know that.
I agree. I think Christmas songs need to stay traditional. I agree. Put your own kind of voice to it, but sing it in the traditional way, because I like to sing along, and if all of a sudden I'm singing along and the artist goes off in a different way, I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell is this? I think Christmas songs should be the most traditional songs out there.
I will also say quickly, I'll give you guys a off the beaten path Christmas song to check out. When a Child is Born by Kenny Rogers. All right. So way back in the day when I was a little kid, my parents didn't like country music, ironically, at all. But my mom loved Kenny Rogers, and like more from his rock and roll days. But we had the Kenny Rogers Christmas record when I was a kid. And the last track on that, he does a great version of Oh Holy Night. And the last track on that original Christmas record from the early 80s is a song called When a Child is Born. That song absolutely ruled me. Every Christmas, I would listen to it over and over and over again. So one of the coolest things for me when I was in a band that never really made it, we spent several months opening for Kenny. And like one of the first nights, I just sat side stage and talked to him about that Christmas record. Still holds great meaning. Go listen to When a Child is Born. It's the best version of that song. Other people have done it, but Kenny's version of it, When a Child is Born, will rock your soul.
All right, there we go. A little insider information from a man who knows a lot about music and the music industry there. Jason Fitz's holiday gift to the rest of you guys here. Now that Jason's firmly established himself on the naughty list, though, talking about Santa and Mrs. Claus having sex the night before, which, by the way, Santa needs to stay off it here, needs the legs for the big run to go deliver all those presents. So, Santa, I would ease up off that, maybe get in the cold plunge.
Have you ever heard the Santa Claus wants some love? And that's an old like funk Christmas song from, I think, the late 70s, early 80s. Santa Claus wants some loving. Go check it out. That one, it's a little weird.
All right. Let's get away from that quickly and ask Jason to help us put some athletes on the naughty or nice list from this season here, you sick monster. Let's start this off, Jason. Naughty or nice list from this year. And we're going to go all the way back to the beginning of this season here. Shohei Ohtani, naughty or nice list here as an athlete who came into this season highly paid, the Los Angeles Dodgers, wins the World Series, all these great things, has the gambling issue pop up with his interpreter at the beginning of the season here. Shohei Ohtani, naughty or nice list this season.
Like he's nice list in like that Succession sort of way. Like, you know, you shouldn't be rooting for him, but you are rooting for him. You're pretty sure he had something to do with the gambling, but you can't prove it. So at this point, got no choice but to like it. Yeah, I'm all in on, look, if you can clean up your mess in such a way that we forgive it when you're in the World Series doing great things and we don't even talk about it anymore, then you are the ultimate nice. Like, you've paid no attention to the man behind the curtain. You've gone full Wizard of Oz here. Pay no attention to the scandals. Yeah, I'll take nice because we saw something that we're never going to see again. And Shohei made us care at a level that I've never cared about baseball at the level that I cared about in this year's playoffs because of Shohei.
All right. Very simply, naughty or nice, Jerry Jones.
Oh, Jerry's on the naughty list. He's on the naughty list for making us like pay so much attention. Right, like he'd be on the nice list for what I have no problem with the way he runs his business. Fine, nice, great. But when you just make everything complicated at some point, you're like, man, if everything has to be a conversation about everything you do, and all of a sudden it's just pay attention to me, that's just the ultimate naughty list. Plus, the Cowboys stink this year, and he's the main reason. Like, go ahead, fire your coaches, get a new quarterback if you want. Last time I checked, you're gonna have the same owner. So naughty list on just ruining football.
All right, there we go. Jerry Jones, pretty easy one for you there. How about this one, Fitz? Naughty or nice list, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, so Jim's on the nice list this year, but he's that kid that's been on the naughty list so many times that we're kind of like, we're cautious about the fact that he's on the nice list. Like, he's on the nice list, but you kind of know that when nobody's looking, he's going to hit his brother in the head with the Tonka truck. Like, it's just, he's going to find his way back to the naughty list. We're all going to be worn out by it. But right now, national championship, you skate out of there knowing that the team's about to go just downhill. You get out of there, and then you take over, a charmed franchise with a good quarterback that is finally looking like they're going to be the Chargers that everybody thinks they're going to be. Yeah, full nice list at this point. It's not nice to its core. It's just nice in the result.
All right, naughty or nice list, Aaron Rodgers.
No, come on. Aaron Rodgers, like, he's the king of Krampus at this point. Like, Aaron Rodgers is just, he's become the ultimate naughty list. And like, when it gets to Santa looks at me and he hands me the list and he's like, did you leave this name on here intentionally? Like, there's not even a conversation about naughty. Like, when you are parsing words throughout the course of a process, when you become sort of the yeller screamer about everything, when it's always somebody else's fault, when it was the other kid, not you, but you're always in the middle of the you-know-what storm. Yeah, you're on the naughty list at this point. Like, he doesn't even ask. He's like, I know, hey, fat guy, I know, skip my house this year.
Yeah, Santa's really just a proxy for the deep state and Big Brother constantly watching and tracking our moves, I'm sure, according to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you're right. Aaron's convinced that Santa's actually a government agent at this point. So Santa doesn't want anything to do with Aaron. Aaron doesn't want anything to do with Santa. Plus, Santa would have to give everybody his vax status before he was allowed down the chimney. I'll stop now. I'll stop.
There we go. We can let that go there. Well, I think we could say this. Jason Fitz firmly on the naughty list here, even if he comes over and plays nice with us, Fitzy. So, Jason, as always, thank you for stopping by and giving us time on the show here. We appreciate all the insight, especially in the music industry. Have a very happy holiday. We appreciate the good work that you do not only for us, but for the other people that you give back to around the holiday season, buddy. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I know we'll have plenty more with you in 2025.
Love you, boys. Thanks for having me on. But you guys are on the naughty list for no snacks.
Whoa. But I'm full.
I can say we're what the holiday is designed for. Christmas is designed so that a fat bearded guy gets cookies and milk upon arrival anywhere he goes. We are the large bearded people showing up and expecting the cookies and milk. Jason, you are a small wee man here who is more elf class than anyone else.
Okay, look, the elves set the stage, and also, go ahead, my present.
Your present is being in our presence. How about that?
I'll pass.
That's all you're really going to get this year, so sorry, not sorry. Love you.
Welcome back to the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular. Now it is time for DraftKings crowning moments. Here's a list of all our kings. Go off, king. The biggest moneymakers in each league for 2024. So for the NFL, the honor goes to Jamar Chase. For the NBA, it's SGA. For the NHL, Jake Gensel. CFP is Michigan, and CBB gonna be UConn. All right, they wear the crown, you guys, and hopefully you made some money on these kings. Crowning moment is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. The GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular will continue in all its amazingness when we come back. Back with more guests coming up next.
Welcome back to the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular. Thank you to Jason Fitz, Mina Kimes, our great friends for stopping by here. We love having friends around at the holiday season. There's nothing better than that. And, who we have at the door right now? Someone ready to go here? That doorbell can only mean one thing. Our good buddy, Charlotte Wilder, kind enough to join us here around the holidays. Charlotte, happy holidays. How you doing, friend?
Hey guys, happy holidays. The most wonderful time of the year, so I'm told. Right, Senior?
Yes, it is the most wonderful time, which always brings up holiday tradition. So what are your and your family's biggest holiday traditions?
You know, our biggest holiday probably around Thanksgiving, because my whole family gets together on my dad's side, and it's really fun. And so just Thanksgiving in general is our tradition. But then for Christmas, New Year, I'm really doing great, guys. I'm just in the holiday spirit already. The eggnog's flowing. Just kidding. My in-laws, we always do like lox and bagels on Christmas Eve, and then the big feast on Christmas Day. And it's just lovely and cozy, and one of those things that you do every year and you look forward to.
I do appreciate that Charlotte Wilder, when asked about her favorite holiday traditions around Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, instantly brought up Thanksgiving here. We are off to a roaring start, which is why we're going to bring Charlotte into her element this holiday season. Charlotte is known for many things. She's a woman of many talents around here. She helps us bring down the NBA. She is great for sports gossip, but she also has a taste for the finer things and the arts around the holiday season. And I, of course, am talking about the classics that are the Hallmark movies that pop up this time of year, reinventing the same plot with different characters and similar color schemes, all to tell stories of romance, betrayal, and of course going back to your hometown and meeting a guy in flannel. And so in honor of Hallmark movie season, we wanted to play a game called Hallmark Movie or 2024 Sports Story with our friend Charlotte Wilder. So these that we are going to have Jesse read here in just a second are either ChatGPT created synopses derived from a sports story or an actual summary of an actual Hallmark movie that we have seen on TV. So guys, are we ready to play here? And Jesse, do you have our first story loaded up?
I am ready to read. Okay, let's go. The title of movie one is A Christmas to Remember. So, after a thoughtful breakup, Jordan moves to a charming new town just before Christmas, eager to start fresh and embrace the holiday season with a heart open to new beginnings. Settling into their new life, they meet Taylor, a warm Christmas-loving local who immediately sees the kindness and potential Jordan carries. As they share festive moments, from holiday markets to cozy Christmas lights, their friendship blooms into a beautiful love story. Jordan soon realizes that they didn't need to change. They just needed someone who truly appreciated them for who they were. Surrounded by the magic of Christmas, Jordan and Taylor discover that love can be the most beautiful gift, and the right person is there when you least expect it. Tagline: this Christmas, a fresh start is all it takes to find love that has always meant to be.
Okay,
Wow.
so
All right, first
I have a few
off, would
questions.
watch.
Yeah, would
Same.
watch. Yeah.
Same. A few
Yeah.
questions. Are these the actual names involved? Like, could that be Zach Taylor, for example?
No,
or-
the names have been changed. The names have been changed.
And Christmas, is the Christmas timeline a hint, or is it? I
No.
know this is a sports one, and I know it's about a player who went to another team, and I'm trying to figure out what team that would be, because it's someone who didn't feel appreciated in their old. Oh, is this Sam Darnold and the Jets and the Vikings?
That was a really good guess, but it is actually Saquon Barkley's move from New York to Philly. Yeah.
See, now I
Yep.
feel shorted
Okay.
because I actually knew this one, and this was going to be my guess.
Oh, man. Okay, Gojo, I'll let you guess too on the next one.
You guys are way better than me. I thought it was a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
The Sam Darnold
it just goes
one
to
was
show
not
you.
so bad though, right?
no, that was a good guess.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
No, definitely a
That
good guess.
was.
That's the way I'm skewing in this. I feel like a lot of them are going to involve like player duos that potentially had a split here, because so much of that player coach stuff is a big one too. I mean, the way we talked about Brady and Belichick for years mimicked a long running marriage and a relationship. So I'm kind of, that's where my antennas are up right now. Let's do movie number 2 here and see if we get better this time around.
Okay, movie number 2, Our Holiday Story. As Dave and Nell recount their love story to their daughter's boyfriend, Chris, we follow them through one special Christmas where fate routinely brought them together and kept them apart. But as Dave and Nell tried to find one another, they were oblivious to the fact that they were work nemeses paired together to throw a Christmas festival for their town. Meanwhile, in the present, Chris struggles with relationship issues of his own as he attempts to say, "I love you" for the first time to his girlfriend, Jo. As our two couples and storylines intersect, lessons are taught and learned about communication, honesty, and the capacity for change in ourselves and in others. About communication, yep, I already read that part. Tagline, this year, 2 love stories collide, one from the past, one in the making, showing that fate has a way of bringing us together when we least expect it.
I think this is a holiday movie because I don't know what 2 guys could or women could be coming together in sports to plan a holiday market or something. Is this the All-Star? Is this Adam Silver trying to fix the All-Star game?
Well, I thought it was the NFL and the NBA jockeying for pole position on Christmas Day, but I'm with you, Charlotte. I think this is too involved to be a sports story. We generally tend to have, as my dad always says, a mile wide but an inch deep in terms of our drama. So I'm going to say this is a Hallmark movie. What's your guess, Dad?
I think it's a Hallmark movie as well, just because I'm not good enough to figure out if it's a sports-themed, synopsis. So I'm probably going to go Hallmark movie on all of them, but I definitely think this is a Hallmark movie, Jesse.
Ding, ding, you're all correct. It is a Hallmark movie. We love to see it. Yeah, Our Holiday Story, which you can watch because it is a Hallmark movie. So I know you're all interested if you're going to watch it.
I appreciate whoever those generic people are on the cover of that look like the same folks you see in the stock photo in a frame that you buy.
Those are the actors that they tossed in all the Hallmark movies.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Incredible. All right, Jesse, what's movie number 3?
Yes, okay, movie number 3. Title, Home for the Holidays, Heart Strong. Synopsis. Casey Harper has it all. Duh. Career success, the admiration of their company, and a loving partner, Alex. When a Christmas opportunity arises to take a new job in another town, Casey excitedly accepts, hoping to make an even bigger impact. But things don't go as planned. Despite their hard work, Casey struggles to connect with new coworkers and feels invisible, even as the company celebrates holiday success. After a tough year, Casey returns to their old job just in time for Christmas, where they're greeted with warmth, festive cheer, and the unconditional support of Alex. Surrounded by familiar faces and the magic of the season, Casey learns that true success isn't about titles or recognition, but the love and support of the people who truly value you. Tagline,
okay,
this Christmas, the greatest gift is the love that brings you home.
Okay, so this is definitely NBA. This is definitely NBA. Ooh. Titles and recognition. Who's a player who left and then went back? Unless it's NFL.
That's something I can't think about, because a lot of this seems like the beginning, like if Damian Lillard had somehow ended up back in Portland and we had ended the story after last year, this would line up perfectly, but he hasn't gone back to where he came from, Dad.
Maybe they didn't leave a team. Maybe they just did something else.
I listen, first off, I definitely think it's a sports story, but
go
ahead.
No, it's not Belichick. It's not Belichick. I was going to say,
I think it's Belichick. I think it's
you
Belichick.
Think it's Belichick?
I think it's Belichick.
I think you guys were hot when you were talking about NBA, but do you need...
Oh, coach. Doc Rivers?
It is Jason Tatum championship to Olympics back to NBA.
Okay, come on, guys.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, there we go. That makes perfect sense when you lay it out there like that. Loved in Boston, tried to go make an impact on the USA roster, was denied there, and has now come back to the love that he knew was always there. God, it's really well done. I knew this was a Chat GPT ass title, Home for the Holidays, Heart Strong. seems exactly like what a poorly functioning chat robot would try and make for a movie title. So that was kind of a giveaway, but I never saw that one coming. That's a great call.
Yeah.
I didn't either. I love this game, though. I could do this for hours.
At least we all knew that was a sports-related show.
Yeah.
The titles or recognition is what.
You guys all
right.
Let's do movie 4, shall we? Okay.
Yes, let's do it.
Movie 4, title Jingle Bell Run. Synopsis: Avery is an unadventurous school teacher whose sister secretly signs her up for the Great Holiday Dash, a Christmas-themed reality competition show where they're paired with former athlete Wes. Despite clashing at first, Avery's puzzle-solving skills and Wes's physical prowess help them excel as they travel from city to city and compete in festive feats that have a local flavor. It's not long before a real connection between these opposites begins to blossom. But when Avery overhears a conversation between Wes and a show producer, it threatens to derail their budding romance. Keeping their eyes on the prize, the duo continues to dash to the finish line, but there may be a more personal adventure for them still in store. Tagline: opposites compete, but love could be the ultimate prize.
I sort of feel like this might be a Hallmark movie, but it could also be JJ Redick and LeBron James and the Lakers.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That would. Yeah. Former athlete, puzzle solving skills, derailing their budding romance here, since something behind the scenes clearly seems a little off in Los Angeles.
To town.
I'm going to go Hallmark movie 2, though, Charlotte, because this sounds like The Ugly Truth, that Katherine Heigl, Gerard Butler movie, just Hallmarkified in terms of the same tone and tenor.
I'm saying the Lakers. I'm saying the Lakers.
Senior, what's
All right,
that?
Dan, you're the swing vote here.
Just because I'm horrible at this game, I'm going Hallmark movie.
It was a Hallmark movie. It is.
Damn it.
Jingle Bell Run is a Hallmark movie. As you can see, another high quality film that you can watch this holiday season.
Is that the same couple from the other one?
The what?
It's all the same people. Mike, the guy in the Chiefs holiday Hallmark movie has been in 20 Hallmark movies since 2019.
Wow,
Really?
they just churn them out.
What's
They're
a
all the
better
same.
gig, being in daytime soap operas or being in the holiday movie circuit? In this essay, I will. Let's get one more movie in here, Jesse, and try and go out here on a win. What do we got for movie 5?
Okay, movie 5, title Holiday Touchdown. Synopsis: Alana is sure that her family's lifelong history as superfans makes them a frontrunner to win the team's Fan of the Year contest. Derek, director of fan engagement, is tasked with evaluating how Alana and her family stack up against the other 2 finalists. As the pair spends time together, it's clear there's a spark between them. But when her grandfather's vintage good luck winter hat goes missing, Alana begins to doubt everything that she believed about fate, destiny, and even questions her future with Derek. Unless, that is, a little Christmas magic can throw a Hail Mary. Tagline: in the game of love, sometimes a little Christmas magic is all you need to win.
Guys, I watched this one. It is the Chiefs holiday movie that I just referenced. Derek is played by Tyler Hines, who has been in 20 Hallmark movies. Alana is played by Hunter King, Joey King's sister, and it is just a big ad for Chiefs merch because they got the official licensing deal from the NFL. Boom.
Yep, yeah, that is
Wow.
correct. I believe there was also an Andy Reid cameo. Is that?
Yeah, and Donna Kelsey. Donna Kelsey plays the manager of a diner. So
Wow.
there you go.
Unbelievable. Well,
Wow, Charlotte.
Yeah.
I mean, bravo.
Yeah. Thank
Bravo to you.
We could all see, if you couldn't see, Charlotte on camera was chomping at the bit to go and get all of that Hallmark movie knowledge out. Charlotte, I'm just so glad that this is actually a Hallmark movie, because I needed the line about the grandfather's vintage good luck hat to actually be a real plot line.
yeah.
You have to watch this. You just have to watch this. It is unhinged, and I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed every minute.
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. I'm in.
Wow.
I enjoyed every
I am
minute
too.
of
I love
this
Hallmark
game,
movies.
of Hallmark movie or 2024 sports storyline here. Thank you to our producers for putting this together. Thank you to ChatGPT for being such an unhinged agent of chaos. But most importantly, Charlotte Wilder, thank you today and every day and every week as you join us here on the show. We appreciate you, buddy. Happy holidays. We love you, and we hope you and the family have a great time.
Oh, love you guys. Happy holidays. See you next year.
Oh, God, we get to get into that now. We'll see who's at the door next on GoJo and Golic. All right, welcome back to the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular. You're going to hear me say that a lot today. Mike Golic Jr., Mike Golic Sr., Jesse Cofield with you here, enjoying having some of our friends come over for the holiday. And oh, there's the sound at the door. Yeah, that is. That can only mean one thing. Another one of our friends, our doorbell's delayed around here. The electricity, it's wiring in an old house here. Katie Nolan's here, guys. And how excited are we to have our dear friend Katie Nolan back, famous for many things, including thirsting after my father on the internet. How we doing, bud?
Oh, good. You guys need some WD-40 on that door. It sounds a little creaky. I feel like that's something we could, Papa, maybe you could take care of that for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I am the handyman. I am maintenance Mike, as they say. I will get the oil out and take care of it. Katie, always great to have you on the show. First and foremost, what are some of your holiday traditions?
We're sort of forming new ones. So my fiance, still haven't gotten married. That's on me. We last year we started this road trip that because we've got a little puppy, a little dog. She's like 5. She's not a puppy, but she's always a puppy to me. She can't fly, and we want to take her with us. We felt bad leaving her for Christmas, so now we do a road trip from New York, where we live. We have a little stop with family in Chicago, and then we have a stop with family in Denver, and then we drive all the way back. And so the tradition that we started last year was getting stuck in a snowstorm and having to sleep in the parking lot of a Motel 6. I'm kind of hoping this year we don't do that, but you never know. You never know. Anything can happen.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? It turned into a lovely podcast that people can hear on your fiance's YouTube channel and be entertained by there. I hope and pray that doesn't happen to you again, but I know you'll have the podcasting equipment with you if it does. So
yeah, I always keep it. I
win.
keep that thing on me.
Katie keeps that content thing on her, and we do here as well. And so, Katie, while we've got you here, we thought we would do a little nice contrived Christmas game here called Gift or Exchanging, a little twist on buy or sell here of some other holiday traditions that exist around this time of year. And we're doing a little Hallmark movie bit with our buddy Charlotte Wilder coming up here in just a little bit. But I wanted to touch on some of the other holiday classics and see where you were at on buying or selling, gifting or exchanging these Christmas movies. And I want to start off with this one here because it gets its own day around the holidays. Katie Nolan, are you gifting or exchanging A Christmas Story?
Oh no, it's such a controversial start to this segment. Okay, I think I would have been gifting it like 7 years ago. I think it hit a point where like you said, it gets its own day, but I do feel like I saw some channel of some sort, because who knows, everything's streaming now, like playing it for a full day recently.
Yes.
And I was like, but this is supposed to be Christmas Eve into Christmas. That was the whole thing about it. And now I think it's reaching almost a point where like we need to sort of exchange it for a little bit. And then we can go back to gifting again. It's really nothing against the movie. It's more about like its cultural relevance, I think I might be exchanging it is the one that means sell, right? Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man.
As we will, I'm
Boy,
sure,
that
forget
right out
very
of the
quickly
gate,
on
that
this.
one
I
hurts
know.
me. I
know.
love A Christmas Story. I absolutely, it doesn't matter when it's on for me. And you're right. There's a station that runs it for 24 hours, so you can always catch some part of it. But my God, the Red Ryder BB gun. I mean, that one just always makes, I guess maybe because I'm older. Now, this is a little older than when I was a kid, but still, it still does take me back to my youth and Christmas. So maybe that's why I'm a little more sympathetic to it.
I get that.
Yeah,
That's
I can
fair. It's fair.
understand
It's the right
Katie's
answer. It's
point,
not the
though.
wrong answer. I'll just say. Sorry, Mike, before you go, I just want to say it's the correct answer, and you look very handsome today, Mr. Golic. Go ahead.
Thank you
Christ
very
almighty,
much, Katie.
It took us 4.5 minutes for the flirting to start here. Dear God, help me. And I was just going to come in and actually agree with Katie on this and say, I do actually endorse the idea that it would be a good move, I think, for everyone involved if we gave another movie a shot at the 24-hour run here. That way, if it goes poorly, then all of a sudden we miss A Christmas Story. We've got a new appreciation for it. This is really, in its own way, the plot of a movie here in Distance Making the Heart Grow Fonder around the holidays. So I'm actually with Katie on this one. I love the movie. It's a classic. It is part of my personal lore, but I do think we need to move on from it. And so I would offer up this as one of the movies, Katie. We're going to gift or exchange on this one, which for me is always my biggest port of controversy. Home Alone as a holiday movie here. Are you gifting or exchanging?
Gift. I don't know if you saw my Halloween costume this year, but Dan and I were the wet and or sticky bandits. And Myrtle was Kevin McAllister. Home Alone is the greatest. That's my childhood. That's like, especially because there was like the multiple types of Home Alone where it's always just about like a kid being alone, making it work on their own. I feel like, Mr. Golic, I feel like you don't like this movie, which is kind of freaking me out.
You know
right
what?
now.
It seems at this point, from the movie thing to activities we've done, the only thing we have in common is ice fishing. Because yes, I do not like Home Alone. I am not a fan of that movie at all. You and I are 0 for 2 on agreeing on this.
God, this is a terrible date.
I just love that this is shattering the grand illusion that Katie Nolan has had of my father for what feels like years now, that she is finding out he is not the man that she thought he was in all actuality here on the Christmas movie front, even though I actually kind of skew his way on this one. Home Alone to me is like Home Alone to me is like In-N-Out Burger, where I don't think it's inherently bad, but I do think it is massively overrated and overhyped.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to feel. Home Alone is a classic. It's an adventure. It's a caper. There's trouble afoot, but it's the holiday season. Sure, it starts by a mom forgetting about her son, but that's who's never done that before, okay? That's also aspirational. I know a lot of moms who like to forget about a lot of sons. So I don't know. It's a classic. I think you both are crazy, and I think we should move on.
It's a caper. You don't hear caper enough.
That's right. We don't have enough holiday capers.
We're not making holiday capers anymore. We're losing recipes here. Although I do love Katie's idea of moms sitting around and watching Home Alone with a glass of wine around the holidays. Like, I wish I could leave you bastards behind. So maybe one day that'll come for the moms here. But taking Katie's advice, we'll move on here and let's move on to holiday treats. Something maybe a little bit less controversial here. And gift or exchange certain holiday specific treats here. I want to start off with one that I don't feel like there's enough discourse about here. Katie Nolan, gift or exchange gingerbread.
Oh, now see, gingerbread, a pleasant taste. I think it almost, what's the opposite of benefits? Like, to its detriment are the houses, I think, because when somebody makes a beautiful gingerbread house, you're not gonna eat it. You're not gonna pick the gumdrops off and then bite into the cookie. Like, if you are gonna pick at it, you're gonna take a little thing off. You're not gonna eat the insulation. That's wild. And so I think that like gingerbread sort of is looked at as opposed to enjoyed, but I do think every time I've bitten into a gingerbread, I enjoy the taste quite a bit. And so I think underrated, if that was the segment we're doing, but it's not. And so I'll say I'm gifting the gingerbread.
1,000% agree. The gingerbread house almost gives the taste of gingerbread a bad name because you're right. That's not the way to eat it, a gingerbread house. But just gingerbread itself, it's different enough that says, oh yeah, it's holiday season. I am all in. I am in complete agreement with you. We are back to being in sync, Katie.
Yes.
I cannot stop laughing at to its detriment are the houses, of gingerbread. I never thought about that before, but it's so true. We have reduced gingerbread to a supply in the construction of these miniature homes here. That's what we need to, and I hate when people say normalize blank, but we do need to normalize the breaking down and eating of the gingerbread houses as much as we do the like social media clout that we get from building and putting them out there. It's a microcosm of cooking in general, which sucks because you put a lot of work and care into something that can be over in like 5 to 10 minutes, but I still think it's necessary because I'm with you. Gingerbread, absolute heat. One of the real underrated flavors out there when you throw it into a cookie form here, get a little frosting on that thing. All right, Katie Nolan, with that in mind here, let's go to a little bit more of the extreme end of this. Gift or exchange candy canes.
What an interesting. I feel like I would listen. A candy cane, you're in it for the shape, mostly. It's a shape you're not seeing any other time of year, and it's a shape that conveniently hooks right there onto your Christmas tree. I think that alone is enough to make it giftable. It's buy, not sell. Because I think here's the thing, you can get a million different flavors of a candy cane. So there's like the classic, but then there's also, we used to have these candy canes, I don't even know if they're around anymore, of like they were cherry flavored, in the middle almost had like a chocolate or something inside. It was awesome. Those are great. I think if you're going like plain candy cane, I don't know, maybe I'd exchange those. But I think that shape, that classic shape, you can't count a candy cane out.
I think the regular size candy cane as a decoration on a tree is great, but let's be honest. Whoever ate a full big candy cane, I think the ones to eat are the tiny candy canes because those are more edible. You can finish those off. Leave the big candy canes for the decorations on the tree, but I'm all in on buying.
Buddy, that's a skill issue if you can't get through one of those horsey ones. I love me a good, and listen, clip it if you must. I love me a good girthy candy cane.
Nice.
To Katie's point, being able to also hook it while you eat it, to have it hang in there and almost have a handle like a mug for the eating of the candy cane. And then my favorite part of it is when you get down to the ring there, you can almost treat it like a mouthpiece if it's small enough where I just get it all in there and then treat it like it's almost like going around. Yeah, like I say, try that one out the next time you get a chance here.
You got a candy cane Invisalign you're popping into your mouth?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. Holiday flavor encompassing the entire mouth.
I'm starting at the wrong end, I realized. I always started at the curled end and was like, how do I?
Wow.
But now I see it's a mouth guard. I'm just eating it backwards.
See, was blind. We're trying to lead people to new places here this holiday season. With that in mind, I want to get to activities now as we do all this. The holidays are about getting outside and doing a lot of stuff here. Let's go outdoor activities. I want to start, Katie Nolan, gift or exchange snowball fights.
Oh, well, I think I'm gonna gift it. I can't be too contrarian. It's the holidays, but I do think that like there is only certain type of snow that really lends itself to the making of a ball and therefore the escalation of a snowball fight. I think I've been in a lot of fights where I tried to throw a powdery one and it disintegrated and you feel very silly. It's like that dream where you try to punch someone and you can't throw a punch.
Oh.
If you try to throw that stupid snowball and you watch it disappear and you're just like, I feel so stupid. But I don't think that we're doing enough playing in general. So I'm not going to say I'm getting rid of snowball fights. We can never get rid of snowball fights.
Yep. Send the kids outside to play in the snow. It's the same kind of snow that you need to build a snowman. So you can actually do multiple activities. You can have a snowball fight and then you can build a snowman, or you can build a snowman and then have a snowball fight. But that snow is the exact same snow to have a good snowball. I completely agree.
God, there is nothing that I think Northeasterners and Midwesterners, man, they differ on a lot, but the one thing they enjoy is being able to come out and identify on site which kind of snow as it's falling is going to be the light, fluffy stuff or the good, wet snowballing and snowman snow. Being able to do that on site, that is a true winter ball knower, and those are the people that like to separate themselves at this time of year. We know, while people may love that, Katie, we also love gift giving around here, and we had a little present that we wanted to give you before we let you go in exchange for coming around here and playing gift or exchange with us here. We stumbled drunk into this at some point during the season, and we figured you're the only person would like it. So without further ado, Katie, we would like to present you this holiday with the gift of Tub Zaddy. This is my father's OnlyFans account that you can be the first follower of and supporter of here just for you this holiday season.
Oh, thank you so much. Earlier, Zaddy, when you were saying that we didn't, the only thing we had in common was ice fishing, I was like, well, we also are both passionate about your physique. So at least we have those two things that we can always, that's our breakfast at Tiffany's. We can always fall back on just how strongly we feel about your body head to toe.
Well, that's it. Now I am going to get the OnlyFans account and start with the bubble bath because of Katie.
We did it. We did it, fam.
A true Christmas miracle from hell. If you are me and only me, the therapy bill only continues to grow for me here, but the holiday cheer at an all-time high. Always great catching up with our buddy. Katie, thank you so much. Have a safe trip with Dan. Have a ton of fun. We're excited to hear about this. Hopefully in a podcast that recaptures all of this, not with you guys stuck in a car.
Merry Christmas, you guys. Happy New Year.
Welcome back to the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular. Jesse Cofield, Mike Golic Jr., and Mike Golic Sr. here. Let's take a look and a listen back on some of the best sound from the year on the show. It was a wild one in college football, and we had plenty of coaches on to talk about it.
I think the biggest pressure for me is just always trying to give these guys in this program the greatest experience you possibly could give them. That's the way I just always look at it, and pouring into them and making sure I don't miss opportunities to where, there's learning moments where I can continue to do a better job of building relationships, be there for someone who's going through a tough time. When you really try to simplify it down and understand the recipe that's kind of been successful for us, it's been taking care of each other. It's been obviously an organization of what you want to do offensively, defensively, special teams, and kind of sticking to that plan and then evolving as you need to. But to me, the biggest pressure is more about just, trying to focus on yourself, focus on the right things. And then honestly, you gotta live with what happens.
We went into the season with two quarterbacks that we really believed in that helped us win a lot of games last year. And, and to some degree it was a good problem to have, but, we played them both the first three games, and at some point we had to have consistency. So we made a decision, and our team has really rallied behind that. And those guys have both handled it great. So I think that kind of stabilized things, allowed us to have an identity on offense and have consistency as a team. But I think the biggest thing that has allowed us to have success is we're a physical football team. And so, we take pride in it. We've talked about it, and we don't take for granted that just because we've been physical so far this season doesn't mean we will be Saturday. But, when you make a move into a power conference, especially in the trenches, it's different week in, week out. And then a school like SMU that, our history is long, and we won't get into all that. But even in the last 5 years, we've been known as a school that scores a lot of points. But until last year, we didn't play defense. We started playing defense and being physical last year, and it won us a conference championship. And our guys have carried that into this year. And our formula is real simple. I love to throw the ball. I love to throw it deep. I love to play fast. But we're going to run the football and stop the run.
Regardless of how the obstacles that are now in college football, which there are a bunch of them, and people are trying to fix them and change it and make it better. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is if you wake up every day and you're a college football coach, whether you're a position coach, analyst, GA, and you're not blessed to do what you do, we're cheating you're cheating the guys. And I think the majority of the college football coaches that still do it are making a decision to still coach because they love it. And that's the point I was trying to make is I love this. I love it. I'm on a local radio show. I'm talking about the passion I have for what I do every day. And yeah, is it hard? Yeah, is it difficult? Yeah, there are things that keep coming up that make it even more difficult. But at the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody cares about your circumstance. So figure it out, find a way. And that was what I was saying was, man, I'm blessed to be here.
Dad, Jesse, no doubt getting to talk to all these players and coaches, eye-opening given all of the different things that are on their plate than from ever before. I played the sport over a decade ago, and it's almost wholly unrecognizable with what we're asking these players and coaches to do. So great insight on what it's like living this life now.
Yeah, there's one thing talking about actual games and playoffs and such, but coaches are dealing with so much more now. And again, it's not going to change. It's not the old toothpaste not going back into the tube. It is just going to keep going as it's going. And the coaches understand they have to adapt to it, or there has to be some more changes that go on to make it a little more palatable.
It certainly is. What makes it palatable for me is now getting to watch so many of the young people around college sports get to go out here and flex with all of this newfound wealth on their friends and enemies alike here. We are seeing better tailored suits and dresses, more iced out jewelry than ever before. Jesse, speaking of someone with an appreciation for the finer things, we got to talk to King James this year. How about that?
Yeah, who could forget that we had LeBron James on the show? With Bronny entering the league, of course, he had to chop it up with noted father-son duo, the Golics.
I'm looking at you two guys right now. I think it's one of the greatest things in the world to be able to work with your kid, so this week we got back into the gym, and it was really the first time that me and Bronny, was basically on the floor as professionals, training, going against each other, preparing, for the season. And I had a couple moments where I kind of I lost focus, and I'm not used to losing focus when I'm out on the floor, but I was a couple times I was just looking to the side and just watching him prepare and watching him go after it. And it was just, it's going to be an unbelievable year for myself, and I hope for him as well.
I feel like I wouldn't be doing my journalistic duty if I didn't ask, what did he call you when he got out in the court? We saw the soundbite the other day on whether or not he was going to call you dad. How did he address you when you guys finally got out there?
You know what? He has not said anything yet. He has not given me a name yet on the practice court. And I've actually had my ears so open waiting for that moment. And I know it's going to come at one point. And I don't know if I'm going to be surprised by it or in awe of whatever he calls me. So, I'll make sure that you guys get the intel. Just because I'm on you guys' show today, I'm going to give you guys the first crack at it of what he said first when it comes out.
Dad, last I checked, LeBron James has still not returned back to the program. We knew he's had a few things going on with the Lakers, and we still haven't yet gotten the answer of what Bronny has opted to call him on the court. So hopefully LeBron in 2025, it's our year, baby. We can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, we know they only shared the court that one time in the first game of the season before Bronny went over to the G League, but still just an incredibly cool story, and so much on Bronny's shoulders being the son of one of the greatest of all time I would imagine he would rather just kind of develop in anonymity to try and get his NBA game going on while he's working through it in the G League.
I did see him get some of the rookie treatment from guys like Anthony Davis, getting shoved out at the end of the bench, having to give up his seat to the veteran. So still getting some of the good stuff here and being treated like just another rookie who already has generational wealth in a bank account that would make me cry if I saw it in person. Jesse, let's get to other strange stories that we saw this season and some of our guests brought to the table.
Yeah, great guests equals great stories. And here's a particularly good one from Martellus Bennett.
Well, it started when I was a kid and I got banned from Astroworld. They told me I couldn't come back to Astroworld, which was a theme park here. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to build my own theme park. So they kind of started my villain origin story. That was the beginning of it. So,
wait, what did you get banned from Astroworld for?
For stealing? We used to, me and my brother, my parents used to drop us off at Astroworld. And, they would give us like $20. But $20 at the theme park, that's like 2 minutes of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a water and maybe a popcorn, if you're lucky, right? The water itself might be $20, especially if it's in the summer, they hike the prices up, which I think is messed up and unethical for theme parks to do. But me and my brother was like, we drop off, we'd be there all day. And one day I was like, man, I'm hungry. We spent our money real soon, as soon as we walked in, and we was hungry the rest of the day. So I started stealing like funnel cakes and all these different snacks or whatever. And it was the best day ever. I remember that day. It was my last day ever at Astroworld, so that's part of it too. So I guess this was kind of like the last supper that I ever had at a theme park.
Did not have on my 2024 bingo card that Astroworld would be central to the lore of one of the most interesting players, Dad, you and I have ever been around.
That was a great interview, by the way, with Martellus Bennett, all that he is into post-career, even during his NFL career. But getting kicked out of Astroworld, I mean, did not see that one coming at all. A place he would go to all the time, and then all of a sudden, he's never allowed in it again. That had to be an awakening experience for him, as he explained, that $20 does not go a long way at Astroworld.
No, I think that's the bigger problem here, is not to Robin Hood this thing too much, but we need to have a more affordable theme park experience here.
Yeah.
All of the sight, sounds, and smells that you're expected to take in for the prices that we know it costs in this day and age are a travesty, a sham, and a mockery. And hopefully we, along with Martellus Bennett, can right these great wrongs.
We need the food to be at the prices like at the Masters. You know, that they have the lower prices for the food. You need that at parks because you're paying so much to get into a park. My gosh, give the patrons a break on something in there, and food and drink would probably be a good place to do it.
That would definitely be a good place to do it, and extremely on brand for us. So hopefully in 2025, we can have Marty B back on the show, spitball more ideas, because if anyone can help get these changes enacted, it seems like it is Martellus Bennett. If anyone can finish off this holiday special with 3 great stories, it is this show. We will be back to close it out here next on the GoJo and Golic Holiday Spectacular. All right, time to finish off the holiday spectacular the way we always do. This, that, and the third. 3 quick stories to send you off into hopefully a wonderful, loving time with family and friends alike. Make sure you download, subscribe, rate, and review the show. Leave us a 5-star rating and check us out here live Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern on the DraftKings Network and our YouTube channel. Thank you to all of the guests that came by to help us make this a very wonderful holiday. All of the great guest interviews that we showed before, in addition to Jason Fitz, Charlotte Wilder, Mina Kimes, and Katie Nolan, who all gave us some of their time around a very busy time of year. Hope they have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday, and we hope that you guys do too, as do we hope our friends at Knockaround Sunglasses, who This, That, and the Third is brought to you by Knockaround. As always, your go-to for great polarized sunglasses at a price that won't break the bank. Head to knockaround.com and use promo code GoJo Golic to pick up your new go-to pair of these great sunglasses. Knockaround been A1 since day one with us. They are awesome. They are incredible looking sunglasses, plenty of great variety, and a perfect stocking stuffer for you and a loved one and a sports fan in your life. So make sure, again, head on over to knockaround.com, use promo code GoJo Golic, and make sure and ensure a very, very, very Merry Christmas for your loved ones with some shades, and for the folks at Knockaround who do a great job and do great by us. Speaking of gift giving gone wrong, let's start off with a holiday version of This, That, and the Third with this, guys. A Charlotte Hornets game had a bit of an oopsie during a halftime break. They recently gifted a kid a PS5 during a halftime at one of their games, and then promptly took the PS5 away and off camera and gave the kid a jersey instead. It went so badly and received such poor press that the Charlotte Hornets had to put out an apology with a basketball analogy pixed in. During last night's game, there was an on-court skit that missed the mark. The skit included a bad decision-making and poor communication. Simply put, we've turned the ball over and we apologize. They reached out to the family and not only committed to giving the kid the PS5 that he should have gotten in the first place, but are also going to give them a VIP experience at a future game here. How did they think this was going to go, Dad, in the year of our Lord 2024 going on 25, that you could make a promise like this surrounding something as valuable and important as a PS5 and expect to get away with it?
So obviously there are meetings for this, right? You have to plan something like this. And this goes back to your age-old thought of having a common sense person that sits in every meeting. They're actually paid by a company, and their only job is to sit in meetings, listen to ideas, good or bad, and be the common sense thought process. When the pitch is made, everybody turns their head and looks at the common sense person, so the common sense person could sit in that meeting and say, wait, you're going to give the kid a PS5 and then take it away. Let's think about that and how dumb that's going to be. Having a common sense person in the meeting would have saved them the embarrassment of having to put that out on social media.
Yeah, it's also not a skit. Like, a skit would be if you guys on camera took it away and then gave him the jersey and then you were like, just kidding,
right,
here's the original PS5. This sounds like they were literally trying to get away with just not giving an expensive present. Yeah. Because it happened off camera that they took the PS5 back and gave him the jersey. So, like,
This sounds like a skit that everyone was in on but the kid in Design Cruelty. Dad, years ago, the Perianos, who are our loving friends that we do Christmas Eve with very often, years ago as a bit, we did this to Alex Periano personally. He's the youngest member of their family. He's my sister's age, and he was a huge Peyton Manning fan growing up. And so playing White Elephant, where you can steal gifts, we got a signed Peyton Manning jersey to give him, made sure that he got it, and then made sure it was stolen so we could watch him cry on Christmas Eve, because we're monsters, but we knew what we were doing. We knew what we were getting into. The Charlotte Hornets apparently were lying to themselves about their true intentions.
Wait, did
here.
you give him? Did you give him the jersey at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
right. That's a joke.
And by the way, he's not 29 now. This didn't happen when he's 29. This happened years and years ago when he was when he was a kid.
Right.
Yeah, we
It's
had
better to
planned all
bully
along to
children
give it to
than
him,
29-year-olds.
but the cruelty of our families of just seeing the youngest person in the room cry made us all giggle, which is pretty heartless on our part.
But he got the jersey in the end. That's the joke. That's the skit.
Yes.
This just seemed
Yes.
somebody doesn't know the definition of a joke or a skit, because they didn't do that.
I tell you what, someone needs to take my PS5 away, because if I keep playing EA Sports College Football 25 and sucking this badly, it is going to be corrosive for my mental health. Speaking of things that help mental health, Jesse, I'm a huge proponent of putting holiday decor up early to help give us that lift during the sad times of the winter here. One basketball team took that advice very seriously and decided to bust out some really incredible holiday threads.
So we have the Nuggets G League team, which wore some incredible jerseys, but also we had Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo, Oakland head coach Greg Kempe wearing Grinch sweaters. So we got the Grinch sweaters here that you can see, which is just an incredible visual. And then we also have the Nuggets G League team wearing these jerseys that have the fake Santa belt on them, which is just, incredible work by them.
I think it's a really expert touch and a beautiful look. Now, Dad, I have to wonder, you're a professional basketball player. You're working your entire life to make it to this goal in this stage. You're grinding through the G League with your hopes of making it up there. I do wonder if at some point when you walk into the locker room and see this, if that clip plays in your mind, am I a joke to you as you don this outfit to try and go out here and please a crowd that may not actually make you feel great?
I can honestly say that athletes, and Mike, you had the Shamrock series at Notre Dame when you'd wear one uniform one time. They had to realize they were wearing this once, and you could do anything once. Personally, I like the Grinch sweaters better. I think the Grinch sweater is a fantastic look. These, I appreciate the effort for the basketball uniform. And I'll never really bang on a one-time uniform. I think it's a cool thing to try. But if you ask me, I had a vote on which one I thought looked better, I would say the Grinch sweaters on the coaches look better.
Because it's funny to see them screaming with the Grinch on their shirt. That doesn't get old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It's the old Le Batard show bit of, it'd be great to have someone break news dressed as Darth Maul on the set because they lost a bet here. And honestly, no one on earth does this feel more on brand for than Tom Izzo, who we've seen mentioning the Le Batard show for years, explore his passion for the accordion and all these different interests here. He seems like a very interesting and fun guy. So I'm glad he's leaning into the bit. We need some of the very tenured old guard folks who have all this respect to start having the fun so that everybody else can kind of get grandfathered into that. So kudos to all of them for living up to the spirit of the holiday. Jesse, let's get to the third here, and a story that calls into question one of the other holiday traditions and practices that we didn't really get to touch on in the show today.
Yeah, so Harry and Meghan, I don't really know how we're supposed to refer to them now because they're not royals, but previous royals, Harry and Meghan, put out their Christmas card. And in one of the photos on the card, it was a collection of photos, were their children running towards them. And they have made it a noted thing that their children's privacy is very important to them. They don't show their faces. So it's the kids running towards them. And the Daily Mail UK decided to put together an article highlighting what parts of the internet believe is a photoshopped photo. They think this was AI, that the kids are AI'd into the picture. There was like a whole thing where it's like this person's arm is too long and their foot's in the wrong place. And it's crazy because it's not photoshopped. It's literally just a picture, and it's a little blurry because it was a small photo. I don't know.
I will say this. I am done overanalyzing anyone connected to the royal family after the way that we were all very publicly burned this year for getting a little too inside baseball on something that turned out to be very serious. What I will ask for you guys is, to me, this underscores the pressure around sending out holiday cards for families here. So how much stock, Dad, have you guys put in over the years to what goes into making the card that you send out to update everyone in your life that you barely talk to on what's going on in your life?
I think the card is fine. I hate the long note that goes with it because it's always embellished, right? It's always embellished what your son's doing or your daughter-in-law is doing or your grandchild is doing. They're the greatest at this. They're the greatest at that. It's so embellished. Just send a collage of pictures if you want or email it. I don't care either way. But, man, let's leave out the 3-page long yearly year-end of what's going on with your family.
Totally agree. It's like we vacationed in Paris this year. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Humble brag, like we get it. You're doing well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So really what we've established here is that holiday cards are actually the original social media. Before we got to go out and flex on Instagram all the time, you had to wait all the way to the end of the year to remind everybody else how much better your family was doing than their family here.
Yep.
Regardless, from our family to yours, we hope you have a great holiday season. Thank you so much for tuning in today and always here. Make sure you download, subscribe, rate, review. Have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday. We'll talk to you guys soon.